evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ahmad Nawaz. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the resignation of the Chief Executive of the Pakistan Cricket Board, Wasim Khan. Now, Wasim's tenure when he was first brought onto the scene by former Chairman PCB, Asad, at first, it was one that was not accepted by the wider cricketing fraternity in Pakistan. But obviously, he was a sort of professional, spent a lot of time in the UK, headed cricket boards all around. If you can talk about cricketing activities and management duties, then he had that international experience. Of course, tried to implement the system here, tried to change the domestic structure as per the vision of the Prime Minister. Wasim was highly regarded as the key person responsible for bringing back international cricket in Pakistan using his contacts and diplomacy skills. And he leaves at a time when the PCB is going through some regime changes as well, with Chairman PCB Ramiz Raja taking over. A lot of speculation has been coming. First one was that his powers were being curtailed. We do know that the fact is that his contract was supposed to expire in 2022. So probably the option of an extension wasn't there. Probably Ramiz's plans are somewhat different for what Wasim had. Wasim during his tenure was also regarded as to having a conflict with the Chairman PCB Sanmani as well. So there were a lot of things happening. But nonetheless, I think there's a lot of praise for Wasim Khan. Even Chairman PCB Ramiz Raja said that he has truly served Pakistan Cricket Board well, wished him the best of luck for future and prayers for him as well. So I think the nation truly owes him a lot of gratitude. We'll be discussing all about Wasim's tenure and how the PCB would be heading from here onwards in tonight's show. First of all, I've been joined in studios, very honoured to be joined by former Test cricketer, ICC match referee, also part of the PCB's various management roles that have been given to him as well. Knows the system, can understand the system, can talk a lot better about the system than most of us. And for me, it's always a learning phase whenever he's on the show. Colonel Retired Naushad Ali. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thanks very much.
Good to have you on the show. We've also been joined by a cricket commentator, cricket expert, somebody who loves the game, plays the game, and truly understands the dynamics and speaks from his heart. True things about cricket is what we get from him always, Mr. Ali Younis. Ali, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Ji, walaikum assalam. Thank you for having me, and a big salam to Sir Naushad also.
Sir Naushad, first of all, this entire scenario has now unfolded in the past 2 days. The Board of Governors has accepted the resignation. Things are done. Things are settled. It's good to see that they were done in an amicable way. Nothing was there that was against the PCB. How do you see Wasim's tenure, first of all? People want to understand why did Mani Saab opt to bring Wasim in the first place?
Well, I know a little bit about Wasim as a cricketer and, of course, as a cricket administrator. It was 2017 when I took the Pakistan A team to England, and that Babar Azam was the captain, Sherazi Khan, all those promising youngsters, they were part of it. And we went to a very, very good result on that tour. In the process, we also went to Leicestershire, and there I met Wasim Khan. He was heading the cricket in Leicestershire County. A very smart guy, understands cricket, understands the environments, cricketing environments in England, and have good connection all around. Well, he was very helpful to Pakistan A team, that not only he provided some special facilities, but also good cricketing atmosphere. I mean, it was just a professional sort of thing. I mean, he was helping out as a duty. And I was very proud to see him doing so very well as an ex-Pakistan, originally Pakistani family, and doing so well in England. Though there are quite a few, so many others.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, that was something remarkable on that. So I met him there. He was kind enough to take the Pakistan team around to various places also, special transport and so many other things. Well, apart from that, he has got a cricketing knowledge much better than so many other administrators. And in this, and when we talked to him, he was one of those. I mean, the Pakistan team was impressed with him. So what happened? And I know Mani Saab as well. I mean, he's been working for Pakistan for long back, about 15, 20 years. Somehow the Mani Saab had some connection. I mean, Mani Saab is a shrewd financial man. And he knew well that when he is going to take over cricket in Pakistan, he needs somebody's technical support. And how they have the connection with the Wasim Khan, but that was, I think, very right decision by Mr. Mani to bring in Wasim Khan as a shrewd cricket administrator for the Pakistan's program.
Definitely, that was the case, and we saw that the synergy was there. Of course, Mani Saab with his international experience and grip over finances as well. But definitely with regime changes in the PCB, a lot is happening. This is not the first resignation. Before that, we saw head coach Misbah-ul Haq and bowling coach Younis stepping down. Then it's Wasim, and now it's expected that there might be another few resignations and people leaving or being replaced at the same time as well. Ali Younis, how do you see all of this changes now at PCB? Somewhat expected, but come at a very critical time when we know that the World Cup is just around the corner.
Well, I don't think so. They're much bothered about the World Cup anymore now. Because if you see the changes just a month ago from the World Cup, it shows that they're not much concerned about the results from the World Cup. Whatever happens. They're just gambled with the team also and with the management also. It might go either way. They might do wonders, and they might go out in the first round also. So it's a bit of a gamble from Pakistan Cricket Board at the moment. And as far as Wasim Khan is concerned, I think it is very unfortunate that he had to leave. Because I personally believe that him with Ramesh Bhai, the active chairman, I think I thought that this duo would do something good for PCB. But I think this is the right move for Wasim Khan with having Ramesh Bhai there, such an proactive rather, chairman. There was no point of having a proactive CEO also. There would always be conflict of interest in terms of powers, in terms of recognition, in terms of everything you talk about in PCB. You know, the momentum is going to shift towards chairman. Earlier we saw Wasim was very active and Mani Saab were on the lower side. Now we see Ramesh Bhai very active. And so there was no point of having somebody like Wasim Khan under him. So it's better off for him. I think he's going back and probably do his work.
Definitely, that would be the case. Sir, very important to understand here the powers of Chairman PCB. Now, a lot of people are of the idea that it's an absolute power that Ramesh Raja would be enjoying now as Chairman PCB. And some people have turned that to the negative side. But as per law, he does have all of these powers.
Well, I think somebody has rightly said that if you have two posts available in Pakistan, one is the PM of Pakistan, the other one is the Cricket Board Chief. I mean, they are in demand everywhere, the media and so many things. I know, I have done so much work with the PCB, I know that if something is signed by the PCB head and then it becomes a law, audit cannot challenge that. That has to be regularized. Regularized in what way? That is to be done the financial people. He has nothing to say. If he wants to offer you something, some contract, whether it is 2 rupees or 2 billion rupees, it makes no difference. So what is absolute powers? They were there, and if they are with Ramesh, it's nothing new.
So, sir, do you agree with the fact that if Ramesh Raja wants to take everything under his control, make these changes, then it was probably one way or the other necessary that the role of Wasim Khan would not be there anymore?
Well, that was the post created for Wasim Khan. It wasn't there before. And he was paid heavily. And he did his work very well. But to continue with another personality, I mean, that's the thing one has to examine. And I personally feel that Ramesh is a bit qualified. I mean, and he has been in the cricketing business more than 40 years.
Absolutely.
In all respects, as a player, as an administrator, as a commentator, and now as a PCB chief. So he has got his own priorities, and he will go according to that. In that priorities, if somebody doesn't fix it, he will go out.
Definitely, that would be the case, because we've seen that Ramesh Raja has put it very in a straightforward manner, where he's also highlighted the fact that if he's making tough decisions, then a lot of people might not like it. But what he's asked from the people is that they just need to have patience for us to reform cricket in Pakistan. Ali Younis, we do know that there's still rumours, but rumours often become reality in Pakistan, that a couple of more resignations are expected and a couple of more changes are also on the cards.
Well, this was always on the cards, Ahmad. If you look at whenever a new chief comes, he comes in with his own ideas, with his own team, with his like-minded people. So I won't be surprised if I see more changes, and it's good that he's bringing in more cricketers. He's bringing. I'm hearing that there are a few cricketers in touch with Ramesh Bhai, so it's good. The cricket should be managed by the cricketers. But then again, somehow, somewhere, I still believe that Wasim Khan had a play. I think he was a great administrator. Pakistan at this point needed somebody like him with some good international experience, with some good diplomatic relations overseas also. I think he's done great with bringing in a few teams over to Pakistan. England was supposed to come also. Unfortunately, they did not, but still, they were in pipeline to come. So it's unfortunate. I'd still want somebody like Mohammad Wasim to be there, may not be as a CEO, but there with Ramesh Bhai to look after all those administrative roles also.
That's very important to understand here. Sir Naushad, you'll agree that the prime task of the former management now was Ehsan Mani and Wasim Khan was to bring back international cricket to Pakistan.
Yes.
And we can give a lot of credit to Wasim that he was successful in this case where his diplomacy skills were utilized.
Well, of course, he has good connection. I mean, particularly within England, England is the dominating power of the cricket in the world. And I think when he was working just like an Englishman working for his country, I mean, he was devoting all his energies, all his time, all his experience, and all his connections for the sake of Pakistan cricket. And I think he has done very well. Not only that, he has bring the international cricket to some extent back to the Pakistan, but he was trying to improve the local domestic structure as well.
So domestic structure has been, I think, one of the core issues right now in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Since the Prime Minister came, eliminated department cricket, gave a concept of regional cricket, it had to be implemented by the PCB. I have seen a lot of negativity circling around that. So first of all, we need to understand that this system will not change because this is from the Prime Minister. What people expected was that if there will be managerial changes, the system might go back to that. That obviously cannot happen now.
Yes.
So what's the right way to go forward as far as domestic cricket is concerned? Because if you talk about people against the PCB, people speaking for the PCB, then the entire thing revolves around domestic cricket.
Yeah, very good question. I mean, you see, if you talk of the present domestic structure, we have the 6 cricket associations, 6 regions, 6 teams, and a number of players coming down from say 700 to 270 or 280. Yes, of course there. But let us wait and see the results. Results will not come just like this. I mean, whatever is being done in the association is being controlled by the PCB. They are still not passed on fully powers to the cricket association. They are in the process of giving powers. Let us see how Rami is handled with this. And is he in a position to give absolute powers to the cricket association for running their own affair? Affair means selection, affair means holding the matches, affair means finances, affair means having some share in the ticketing as well, and affair means there are so many things. If that thing is given, I mean, what's the concept of Imran Khan? I mean, that he wants to have the independent, strong cricket structures in all parts of the country. I mean, whether it is a low-lying area, is the area where you do not have much of the cricket, or it is at par with each other. I mean, and just like the present T20 is going on. I mean, it is a distribution to the player. Who has done it? It is not the association. It is the PCB who is controlling it. That thinks if it goes up, and then these associations, they try. Let us see who succeeds, who brings more money, who brings better player, who brings better infrastructure. If some association has done this better than others, then they should be given some advantage over others in terms of finances, in terms of matches, like it used to be some time back in Pakistan cricket as
Yes,
well.
sir.
When the foreign team used to come, it used to be a bargaining. I mean, the cricket association, they used to get together. It was all right, we have got 4 test matches for Pakistan versus so and so. I mean, Karachi used to say we will buy for this much. Lahore used to say we will buy this much. Then there was a confusion also. There was a thinking also that the share should also be given to the cricket playing cities where not much of cricket is there. So sometimes those matches were given to them at a lower cost as well. So that was all balanced by the cricket board. but that thing was going on. Then after that, when the department interfered, took over everything, then it all changed.
It all changed. So it's about making cricket more inclusive. I think that's the real idea, as Colonel Saab mentions as well. Ali, how do you see this new domestic structure that has been implemented so far? Now we've gone to another season of the domestic structure. How do you find it so far, and what challenges do you think will it pose to Ramiz Raja?
I can't hear you properly, but I think you're talking about the domestic structure. Well, I've always been in favor of this domestic structure. If you can hear me, Ahmad.
Yes, Ali, please continue.
If you can. Yeah, look, I've always been in favor of this domestic structure. But the only problem I saw in the last year also, because I've been the part of a commentating team, I've commentated for the whole of the season. The only problem I see is that they started off from the top, whereas they should have started from the bottom. They should have looked after the club cricket, region cricket, district cricket first, and then maybe change the system or have a parallel system going with it. So coming at once and starting another system, a lot of players lost their jobs who were quite fine, doing fine with department cricket. So that did affected cricketers also. But having said that, the way forward is this structure. I strongly believe in this structure. If they can roll it over for 2 or 3 years, maybe the results will start coming, the money will start coming, the sponsors will start coming. But the only problem I see is that they're not bothered about the grassroots level cricket, the club cricket, the college cricket, the district cricket. That's where a cricketer gets his first exposure of cricket.
Indeed, that is the case when we talk about grassroots level cricket. Sir, this is a problem, and I'll be very honest that even in the past 3 years, being a person who has come from club cricket, I understand the importance and the love people had for club cricket. In the past 3 years, and I understand COVID had a lot to do with this as well, our grassroots level cricket has really gone down.
Gone down, I mean, if you go back to about 30, 40 years, 50 years back, then grassroots cricket was the basics of the Pakistan cricket. It was not altogether the cricket board. It was the individual persons who used to organize their own club. They used to spend from their own pocket. I think that culture, of course, it was there. It took the cricket to some good heights as well. But I feel that this should come back in one way or the other way. And how this club cricket will come back, people have got some plans, but those plans should be unfolded by the now Pakistan Cricket Board, and let us see how they implement it.
Well, sir, another big question mark now for the PCB, and I think this is another big challenge, that because we opted for a Pakistan Super League in which franchises were added and franchises were outsourced, given to these different team owners who bought those teams, then the finances and the entire model that was implemented. Now the PSL wants to grow, and that's the vision of Ramiz Raja as chairman PCB as well. But at the same time, you've given so much of financial autonomy to the franchises that you get stuck in a doldrum now where they demand something else and you demand something else. How do you resolve this challenge now?
Well, I mean, Pakistan has got limited resources. You will agree to this.
Yes, sir.
We cannot match our neighbors in that way. I mean, they have got so many resources to make it successful. But at least we should try. And I am sure that by they must have some plan. They must be calling some experts' opinion on that. I mean, I agree with Ramiz on this point. It should be enlarged. I agree that it should be extended much more than what it is now. And extended doesn't mean that there should be more money for the players, more money for those who wants to come and play here. Like he said, and I think that's a very good approach, that you call all those players who has been playing in other leagues of the world, and even if you have to pay, and then how you have to pay and how you create the money, that is something challenging for this next PSL edition or onwards as well.
That's very important, sir, because obviously we talk about at a time where New Zealand and England pulled out of their tours, and England, of course, have committed to a full-fledged tour next year. But at the same time, you want to promote Pakistan cricket more, and the only platform that we have is the PSL. So that, as you mentioned, that to attract more quality players, increase that pool, maybe increasing the number of teams might help us even more?
I think it's more cricketing than it's finance. And I think for this particular answer, a financial expert will be more informative than somebody who is dealing with the cricket only. But I feel that we can do that. I mean, there was a time, nobody was starting the PSL. I mean, people used to say, you cannot do that. You only talk on the papers, you only talk on the media.
No implementation.
But, I mean, somebody took the initiative. It started at a very lower level, but then gradually it came up. And now then there was a problem with the player coming to Pakistan, then it was shifted to UAE. And after that, the things changed and it came back to Pakistan again. I mean, when this progress can be made, why can't there be a progress for getting more money for the players who are international, who are current players in the world affairs, and then they can come and play in the next or over the next year.
Over the next year as well. Ali Younis, your thoughts on the challenge of the PSL now for Chairman PCB, because we do know that his model is that where he wants to increase the number of teams, have a larger pool as well, but we do know that in one of the last meetings things turned out not so great because some of the franchise owners were not too savvy about this idea.
Ahmad, one thing is for sure that it's going to be my way or the highway for Ramesh by now, from now on, because we're seeing an aggressive approach towards international sides also. We were also seeing an aggressive approach towards the PSL franchises too. So let's see where it goes. It's too early to comment on it. It's too early to say anything about it, that where it goes. It is a concern, the financial model. Until you resolve the financial model for these six, there is no point of adding another team and putting extra pressure on yourself. The priority should be fix this first, make the owners happy make the six owners happy of these franchises, and then look to add more. Just bring in more money, bring in more sponsors, as Ramesh bhai said there, that we're going to increase the price for international players. It's a very good sign. If you can do that, then more players, big names will come to Pakistan. And if you're able to do that, then I think they will be successful. Otherwise, only being aggressive won't help.
Ali, do you also believe that it's often seen that most of the franchises go in hibernation the entire year, and just before the PSL they pop out once again? So there needs to be more from the franchises, and more responsibility needs to be put on them to at least support cricket at grassroots levels or in whatever capacity throughout the year.
I don't think so. It's not their job. But if Lahore Qalandar is doing that, thank you to them. If Quetta is starting something, thank you to them. But you cannot pressurize them. You cannot expect that from them, because at the end of the day, they are doing it for business. It's a business model. They are businessmen running these teams for business purposes, not for your growth of your cricket. It's not their job to do it. It is PCB's job to do it. They should handle it, and they should not expect anything like this from franchises. If they're doing it, a big thank you to them, like Lahore Qalandars and Quetta Gladiators now.
That's very well put, that probably the PCB is one that needs to look after these affairs more. Sir, another big challenge right now is to increase our infrastructure development in Pakistan for at least our stadiums. Existing capacity, we do have 3 top-notch stadiums that we know of, where Rawalpindi National Stadium, Karachi and Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore are your main venues. Of course, the stadium in Multan is probably there. Work is being done in Peshawar for a stadium. We saw Kashmir Premier League in Muzaffarabad. So we've got destinations. So do you think that Ramesh would also be, because like you mentioned, he's got a lot of experience of cricket, he realizes the fact that we need to have more capacity and especially more stadiums throughout the country?
Well, I think the first thing one should do is to increase the capacity of the present stadiums. As you said, Lahore, Karachi and Rawalpindi. Rawalpindi is just 18,500. And then similarly, Karachi is 33, 34. Lahore is 32, 33. So they are not the stadiums which have got big capacity. They have to be increased. How they have increased? I mean, some time back they did some work in Karachi Stadium. I mean, they have no cricket in Karachi Stadium for a year or so. They broke one part of it, and then they brought the stadium up to a standard where they could have accommodated about 34, 35,000 people. So similarly, there should be a plan for Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore, the Arbab Niaz Stadium, is already going on this
Yes, sir.
exercise, and if that can be increased up to 30-35,000, that will be very,
We
very
can
good thing.
aim for at least 150,000 capacity. It's
You
probably
see,
achievable.
and if you talk of, there was a plan in Islamabad, having a stadium on 32 acres of land that was acquired. I'm not very much in knowledge of why it fizzled out, but it was a big plan to have a stadium of about 55,000 with a 5-star hotel around the shopping center, and then having the cricket headquarter. I mean, this is something people doesn't like it, but back in the capital city.
Absolutely.
So that was the plan. I mean, how it fizzled out, I don't know, but that was something. And if people, if they can think it over in Islamabad, they can think it about that for Lahore, Karachi, and other places.
Other places as well. We do know that this was a plan, and we all know where the hold was, and people didn't like the center of attention of cricket moving from Lahore to Islamabad. Some people were not absolutely going for that idea. We do realize that this happened quite some years back now when the idea was floated. Ali, Younis, infrastructure development, having more stadiums, having more inclusiveness, having more facilities for cricketers around Pakistan.
I mean, first things first. I think the first priority should be bringing in international teams to Pakistan. If they're not coming to Pakistan, there is no point having stadiums without any cricket. You know, there is no point of wasting money over the infrastructure when there are no teams coming to Pakistan. Domestic, we saw for domestic cricket, there's just one PSL. If international player doesn't come, then again there is no point of putting money in infrastructure. We saw in Pindi, there are people coming, but there are a lot of spaces vacant also. So for national T20, I don't think so there is much need. But yes, first things first, if you can bring in international teams, they start coming regularly, they start visiting regularly, then yes, we should look to invest. But at the moment, we should look to invest on our cricketers because they are our main products. They should get more money rather than anybody else. So let international teams come in, and then maybe yes, we can look at that.
Well, this all revolves around the players, doesn't it, Ali? And like you mentioned, that more money should be given to them. One thing that Ramiz Raja immediately did was to increase the share that the players were getting. And he said that then there needs to be an increase there as well. So do you think more opportunities and more avenues need to be opened up? Because in the past couple of months or years, we've had a good number of our cricketers who've actually moved away from Pakistan and moved to even USA for better opportunities.
Yes, it's very sad. There are big names. There are names like Sami Aslam. There are names like Ahmad, and other players also who just moved to US. It's very unfortunate. You've got to give them more opportunities. You've got to give them more money. You've got to give them more opportunities to play. I think another thing that PCB should look to do is that they should not have that condition of NOCs for the leagues in Pakistan. You know, if anybody wants to have a league in Pakistan other than PSL, they need to get an NOC of after giving them a lot of money. So they should at least take that off and let people come in, let people organize more leagues. At the end, it will be more beneficial for PCB and Pakistan cricketers. Because nowadays, if you don't give any opportunities or money to cricketers, it's going to get very difficult for them to play anymore.
So Ali, on a lighter note, when are we seeing you back in action, opening the batting once again? Do you think very soon you might be bringing a team from Lahore to Islamabad for a good quality match?
Of course, if you're inviting us, the team is all ready. I played a match yesterday also. So my boys are ready. Whenever you invite us, we'll be right there.
Absolutely brilliant. Ali, Younis, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Extra.
Most welcome, Ahmad. Most welcome.
I said that's very important. At the end of the day, it's all going to come down to cricket, all going to come down to the players. Ramiz, the very first decision he took was increase their salaries. But at the same time, we need to understand that more money needs to come out for the players, for their well-being, for their development funds and pensions and everything. PCB earns a major share when it comes to revenues and profits. But a certain percentage is trickled down to all of these things. Can we increase that share?
Why not? I mean, it's been used to be in lakhs, then to crores, and now in the billions. And the PCB is, I'll say cricket is one thing which is self-sufficient. They do their own producing the money, and they don't need the government sponsorship on that. I mean, they can create the money. I mean, I've seen the time when the cricket has given some money to the hockey as well, if you remember.
Yes, sir.
So the cricket, when it can be brought to this 5 or 6 or 7 billion a year, it could go beyond that as well. But there are financial experts, there are programs, and I'm pretty sure that Ramesh, with all his experience, will certainly do something extra other than what's been going on in these days.
But sir, domestically it can be achieved because you also have that experience where you've seen the model that is being implemented. Because in Pakistan, we're a country that is blessed with a lot of sponsorship. We've got corporate sector, corporate communities who share that responsibility, and to be honest, they've got a lot of money, and they can probably, if they're like in England, for example, we see football clubs or any other sports garnering sponsors. Cricket is the top most followed sport in Pakistan and Asia and in the world, obviously. So if that model can work, the regions might be able to attract more sponsors.
That should be, I think the regions should be self-sufficient. There should be a competition among the regions who is doing more, and then that should be appreciated by the Pakistan Cricket Board in such a way that there should be sort of prize money sort of thing for the best region.
Incentives, yes.
Yes, incentives you can call it. And I'm sure that if the regions, they become, regions is a little bit of concept like independent cricket boards. If that could be organized and that could be made into working, I'm pretty sure that region Pakistan cricket will be self-sufficient into 6 or more different segments as well.
Definitely. Colonel Saab, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Always an honor having you on the show. On that note, we're going to say goodbye from me and the entire team. Until next time, you can definitely stay updated with all the development of sports through Sports Extra. And we do know that one thing is for sure, that Wasim Khan has really served Pakistan cricket, has really served cricket's infrastructure in Pakistan, bringing back international cricket to Pakistan. And as Chairman PCB Ramesh Raja said, that Pakistan and PCB owe him a lot of gratitude. So I think on that note, we'll say goodbye from me and the entire team. Stay tuned and keep watching Sports Extra.